Good afternoon, everybody. This is Scuffed here, and welcome to another review of some pro wrestling. So I'm a bit late on this one on the update. I watched this. I didn't watch this live, but I did watch it the night of. This slipped my day. So Hard to Kill. I saw Hard to Kill 2022. We'll talk about that a little bit. So I thought this was not Friday. I thought this was Saturday, but I missed it. So when I was watching it, I actually watched SmackDown. This is the first SmackDown I've probably caught in damn near a year. I think the last SmackDown I watched was an Imperium opened up the excuse me, Imperium opened up the SmackDown with a 6-man tag, and it was pretty decent, and the rest of the show was horrible. So, and that's kind of how most SmackDowns are. But this is the first SmackDown. I haven't seen anything since the Triple H era took over, and it was fine. It really didn't do anything. It was whatever. I'm not gonna review a SmackDown. I'm not gonna review any TV whatsoever. It's too much to keep up with. I'd rather just read the recaps. To be honest, I'm not too big on a lot of TV wrestling right now, man. I'm pretty picky, and I know that's not. I hate being the smarky armchair wrestling fan. I really do, but it's also a lot to watch. I don't watch a lot of TV, so it's a bit of more of a commitment. But I really like watching these pay-per-views and coming out for these events. So saw Hard to Kill. It was fine. We're gonna talk through it. It was enjoyable. I will always say this, that for some reason, and I don't know if it's an expectations thing, but when I watch GCW or Impact pay-per-views or events, they just make me. They never leave a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know how to really others. I don't really know how to say that either, because I've watched an Impact TV like twice maybe this past year, and they were both terrible. They were both awful events. My goodness, excuse me. I still have a bit of phlegm in my throat. It's been an annoying month for that. But yeah, the last two events that I had seen from Impact that weren't pay per view but were TV were really bad. So, and not that I watch a lot of it either. I think those were in spaces, but this was fun. We're gonna dive into it. Hard to Kill 2023 was dope. I saw 2022, and it's wild because I that was a year ago, and I don't remember shit except the in 2022 there was the Ring of Honor invasion, and that was with Maria Kanellis and Co. and Taven. Um, and then there was the Texas Death Match. Mickey James and Deonna Purrazzo had a very, very solid Texas Death Match. And it's funny, that was like one of like three Texas Death Matches in like a 2 month span on big TV for wrestling. There was the Hard to Kill pay per view Texas Death Match. I think AEW had two, right? Adam Page had a Texas Death Match against Lance Archer, and then I think AEW did another one. I think it was it Adam Cole and Page on like a Rampage? Was that a Texas Death Match? I believe. If not, I don't think WWE did one, but I think it was two on AEW's part, and it was very funny because you use that gimmick a bit to use that gimmick in such a way of kind of an epic proportion, and that match was just getting tossed around, so it was pretty funny. But very 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 solid match with Mickey James and Deonna Purrazzo last year. I'm a big fan of Mickey James. I'm a big fan of Jordan Grace. I love Thick Mama Pump. I think she's dope. I think she's awesome. She looked incredible tonight, or not tonight, Friday, when she was wrestling. She really dope gear, really awesome stuff. But we're gonna run it match by match here. It's kind of the openings. And yeah, let's get into it. So I did not watch the prelims. I know in the Wrestle Kingdom show I addressed watching the prelims, and that's because I love New Japan. I'm a big New Japan boy, so of course I watched. On this, I did not. I did not catch prelims. I watched it back. I saw from the opener, and the opener was the second biggest match on the card. It was Josh Alexander and Bully Ray. Maybe the biggest match on the card for some. Bully Ray was the poster for this event, for Hard to Kill, despite it being like a Mickey James retirement match at the main event. But Bully Ray was the poster with Josh Alexander. I understand for the marketing. That's not a criticism, but it was just funny to see this be the, what you're gonna see on Fight TV, but you're gonna see this be the opener of the pay per view. So this was a Full Metal Mayhem match. Bully Ray, I like what they told here, right? Bully Ray went to horrible means to get Josh Alexander to get a title match, and then to get Josh Alexander in a gimmick match where he could excel. Bully Ray doesn't want to wrestle Alexander, the fucking guy coming out in a singlet and headgear, and Bully Ray's like 62. Right? He's an older man. He looks fucking great though. Oh my god, this is the best shape I've ever seen him in. We know there's been times in his career where he's looked awful, right? He's looked like a fat bastard. But then there's times where he's leaned up and he's looked better and better throughout these kind of later years. And he's always looked a bit better since the Impact era of like the mid 2010s, right? So he's kind of leaned up, but he looked great. Like he was flexing maybe a little bit, but I mean the arms looked good. It wasn't thin at all. Wasn't too thick around the face. He's got that kind of chubby cheeks going on for him. But no, he was thin. He looked fucking great. This dude's fucking awesome. I love Bully Ray. I don't know whose wife he fucked. I really don't. But a lot of people don't like him. I don't know why. I think maybe he's a little tired or played out. Maybe he's just that damn good at the job. He's working over armchair smarks. But good gracious, I really don't know because this dude's always great. He was doing some good shit. I saw some recaps of some Impact TVs done prior to this. I saw one by Marky123D. We'll probably post edit his user. That dude's lit. I love that guy. That guy's got such a cool frame of reference on wrestling and perspective. It's really dope. But yeah, Bully Ray was doing some cool shit leading up to this. I'd seen a few things. Josh Alexander is unconvincing to me in most areas, but he's a good white meat babyface, and I think Impact's done a great job with him. I really do. I think this guy, he's kind of like a shittier Braun Breaker in a sense, and I don't mean that to be so fucking mean, but he's got the singlet, he's got the headgear, he's the wrestler, he's wrestling, and he's got a decent look to him, right? He's got the bald head and the beard, he looks all mean as shit, but he's kind of got that niceness to him, but he looks like he can whip somebody, and that's great. But he just kind of lacks, I don't know. Maybe it's the WWE production. Maybe I'm being sold on the Steiner name too, but there's something about Breaker that just looks like, damn, he's got to be in Mania doing main event shit next year or something soon. Like he's just such a crazy talent out there, and he's so wild. Alexander just doesn't do that for me. And sometimes Alexander, I think, even feels a little bit more indie, where Breaker feels a little bit more green, but still solid. I mean, Breaker does some crazy shit. I've seen some NXTs this past year, man, and Breaker's just running around. But I like Alexander. He's fine. He's really... I think a lot of people have talked him up to be this next big thing, and I think that's where my problem stems a little bit more. Getting into this one though, we had a lot of spots, a lot of gimmicks, a lot of hardcore stuff. We get blood early. Bully Ray enters and then he like runs off, and you just know what's gonna happen from there. And I like it. I like the announcers call attention to it. Phillips and fuck if I know his actual name, but Aiden English do a really good job. They talk it up. They do a really good job anyway. Phillips really comes into his own here in Impact. I guess he doesn't have Vince in his ear constantly, so he does a really good job. He's got great chops. So him and English cut it up too. There's a great spot later we'll talk about when Raven gets on the broadcast. It's good shit. So Bully Ray runs around. He clocks Alexander in the back of the head with he's got the chain around his neck, right? And I think he also like beats him up. He like throws some fists to the forehead. Alexander gets color early. Nothing's bad here. They go spot for spot. They do a bunch of crazy shit. They end up whipping out tacks. Somebody goes through a table. They run around. They brawl this out in the ring, out the ring, up the ramp. At one point, Josh Alexander and Bully Ray do a really good spot. So there's tacks in the ring. And they had set out tacks in the ring, but they got away from the tack spot. They brought outside. They brought up to the ramp. Alexander ends up laying out Bully Ray. Alexander has Bully Ray on a table on the stage, and he's got a ladder set up. and he's climbing the ladder to go elbow drop Bully Ray, and they're on the stage, right? So the ladder is on the ramp. The ramp is short. It connects into the ring. Think like New Japan a little bit, or some of those. I mean, Impact does it a lot too. So the ramp's kind of a short ramp connecting into the ring. It's not like leading down. It's a very kind of short set, and Alexander climbs this ladder. Bully Ray's on the table, but he gets off the table, and then he takes the ladder, and Josh Alexander's on the side that's his the front side of the ladder is empty, that's closest to Bully Ray. The side that's furthest away is facing the ring and is closest to the ring. So Bully Ray actually gets up and he does the spot where he lifts the bottom of the ladder and lifts Josh Alexander back, and he falls. And not only is it a crazy spot to just have him fall back into the ring, he falls back into the tacks. And it was dope because the camera had gone away from the ring entirely, and you forget about the tacks entirely, right? So they were just set there earlier, but they got away from it because somebody stopped them, and they started brawling around the outside of the ring. And really good camera work. I feel like in years past, or I mean, just if it's tropey for TNA to fuck up with production. It's kind of like their own trope. Like they always have a production issue. And it's like they've just carried the same screw ups from like 2010, and they just like this show had some audio issues every now and again. It's whatever. I'm not really bothered by it. I think other people find it much more unappealing. I think it has charm. I think it adds a bit of charm to the smaller scale match, or not match, but promotion. I think it's somewhat charming, if a little bush league, but they work that so well, right? You go away from the tax and they come back to it. They took time out of it. It's really nice. This one goes a little long, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. It just you definitely feel that this is long. This isn't a longer match that like, oh man, I can't believe it's over. This is like, damn, we are getting into this. Alexander and Bully Ray are trading a lot of spots. There's not much to talk about on what they do because you're just in it for a bit of the spectacle. I mean, they're potatoing each other. They're bleeding everywhere. Lots of shots to the head with trash cans and trash can lids. The big thing here at the end is Bully Ray is in trouble, and then he has goons come out for him. And I'm not familiar with the goons, so I'm sorry, but so he's got some underneath talent goons that help him. That's fine. It's a hardcore match, no DQ, right? They're allowed to do whatever they want. They end up zip tying Josh Alexander to the top rope. That's sick. This is really cool. And I was like, oh shit, well, what are we gonna do here? And Bully Ray's goal, I guess, is basically just to torture Josh Alexander until he gives up, because he can't pin him. He keeps trying to pin him, but he can't pin him. And there's a lot of near falls worked in. Alexander's a crazy man on the revenge. Of course, Bully Ray pile drivered his wife. That sounds crazy, and they did that, so that was pretty cool. So Bully Ray's been going off fucking Randy Orton on Triple H in 2009, and breaking into homes and shit, so RKOing the wife. So that's kind of where we're at. And Josh Alexander zip tied to the top rope, and Bully Ray is so if you ever played WWE No Mercy or WWF No Mercy, it's that same camera angle. So you see the hard cam is the stage and then the ring. So the top rope that is furthest from the stage, or closest to the camera, the hard cam, is where Alexander's tied, so you can see the ramp. And then of course Tommy Dreamer comes out. So apparently Tommy Dreamer has been trying to reconcile with Bully Ray. This is some fucking shit. I love it. These are old, and these are annoying, but what's the main event? And we'll talk about the outcome too. This is why when Impact does shit like this, it never seems as hateful or hurtful as kind of the WWE trope over the years, which they've gotten a bit away from, I've heard. But Tommy Dreamer comes out, and Dreamer's like, no, you can't do this, you can't do this. And then Tommy Dreamer beats down the goons with one punch, and they sell it like death, and bless their hearts. Hopefully in 20 years they're doing the same shit to some underneath goons. That's the hope, right? Oh, it was hilarious. Tommy Dreamer just gives one punch to both goons as they try to stop him coming to the ring. Bully Ray's looking onward like, you bastard, you can't do this. All good friends, ECW shit. And Dreamer teases like he's gonna take the trash can and hit Josh Alexander, like he's it's a big switch, it's a big heel. Bully Ray smiles and grins. He gives him the trash can, and Dreamer takes it, and then he looks at Alexander, who's still zip tied, and then he plasters Bully Ray with the trash can. But then Bully Ray doesn't really sell the trash can that bad, and then he lays out Dreamer, so then Dreamer's done, and then Bully Ray takes the trash can and then he starts crowning Alexander with it, who's zip tied, and he's like, give up, tell the ref you give up," and he crowns him like twice, I believe. Which is just funny because Bully Ray just got crowned with the trash can and didn't. He's like, "Yeah, I don't fucking care." So this is just a little funny. But I guess in this instance, Alexander also isn't giving up, and he is. I mean, he's trying to torture him. Bully Ray's. It's kind of like, you're gonna be in for an hour of this if you don't quit, right? So it's whatever. It's just kind of silly. Something to note, not like a problem. I always like to say, sometimes when I bring up things, it's not like, "Oh, this is bad, this is shit, oh, this is negative." It's just things to note. It's just things to kind of think about as you recap a match. But yeah, Bully Ray's torturing Josh Alexander, who is zip tied to the ropes. And I'm talking this through, and it seems like he's zip tied forever. But it really, when you watch it, it just seems like he's there, but it doesn't seem like he's there forever because they don't focus on him. Everything's focused on Dreamer and then the goons, and then his wife. Josh Alexander's wife is like racing down the stands for some reason, not in the back, but I guess kind of maybe not in the back. Bully Ray did pile driver, so she's like running out of the stands, and she like hits the ring, and she's like, you can't do this, please stop." And then Bully Ray's like doing some real sicko shit where he's like making her get down on her knees, making her beg, wants her to give him her wedding ring, which is really fucking weird. And I thought it was funny that like this is some evil shit. Like this really is some evil fucked up shit. So I was like, what the fuck? And again, like I don't understand how you could be. I don't know who's out there saying Bully Ray's the shits, because this is great. Honestly, this is shit you'd like to see a bit more on the E, right? And Bully Ray's doing that, and then, as she's on her knees, Bully Ray's moving closer to take the ring, and she low blows him. And again, none of this, I mean, as cheap as that would feel normally, they work it. They really work it. Like, it doesn't, wrestling is simple, and shit can look horrible, or it can look good, or it can look fine, or it can look great, but they work this, and I just can't help but feel like if Bully Ray wasn't there literally like torturing, screaming at Josh Alexander's wife, telling her to beg for so long and getting in such of his ass about it, that he wouldn't have fallen for the low blow. And then of course Bully Ray sells the low blow like death. That's what's the Bobby Heenan quote? "You're only as good as your eyes and your balls," right? And Bully Ray's holding his balls forever. And then they get in the spot. I believe, I don't think the wife does anything. She doesn't like body slam him or some shit. I feel like in the E, you would have the wife like low blow him and then drop kick him and then like fuck his wife. Like just a lot of nonsense. But she's unzip ties Alexander, and then they move into the finish. I think the wife gets a spot in. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a body splash. Fuck if I remember. But it was cute, and you kind of knew where the match was headed at this point. Alexander's unzip tied. They go to the finish. 1, 2, 3. I think the splash from the wife, she like almost lands into the tacks, which is really funny. She like almost lands in there, and it looked real bad. But yeah, that was the finish. The wife comes in to save the day. Josh Alexander, she gets her vengeance. Josh Alexander gets her win, real clean. Bully Ray's beat. And I don't know where they go from here. I don't know. I probably won't be keeping too close an eye, just because I come in and out with Impact. I enjoy Impact, but there's a lot of it about Impact that's it gets impacty, right? It does get impacty, but I come out for these big events. Like I caught Slammiversary, I caught Hard to Kill last year, I caught what the fuck else? I saw another pay-per-view for them last year, but I can't remember what it was. That's not a good sign. But I enjoyed everything I watched. I never had a problem with anything I saw. Like I just enjoyed it. This was solid. I don't give star ratings or any of that weird shit. I just say what I feel. This was solid. I appreciated it. One thing, I don't know why this opened. I will say, because you had two big matches on the card. It was this and the world title match between Jordynne Grace and Mickie James for her retirement. So why did we do this on the opener is kind of what I kind of don't get. There's a conundrum I always say that needs to kind of be solved. Why don't the wrestlers, when you get a big blood feud like this, a big feud with two people that hate each other, Bully Ray's out here killing Josh Alexander's wife, why does Josh Alexander not fucking shoot Bully Ray in the back? Why aren't they fighting in the back? Why aren't they brawling in the back to open the show? How do you even get them in the same stadium to control their rage and everything? And again, on Bully Ray's end, he doesn't need to do anything. He's got his title match. He's already done everything he needs to do to get himself a gimmick match where he doesn't have to wrestle the headgear wearing freak, Josh Alexander. So Bully Ray doesn't need to fight him or shoot on him. For Alexander, this is also, it's kind of the same. Like, he wants to kind of humiliate Bully. He wants to take care of business. He wants to try to do his best. The white meat baby face, so it's kind of believable. So it's not like you had a reason to rush these two out there in the opener or anything, right? This could have been done in the middle of the card, right? Because now the way the pay-per-view kind of felt was like I don't know, maybe this is just me, but it kind of just felt like I was waiting to get to Mickie James and Jordynne Grace. And again, maybe because I'm not as connected to the rest of the roster, and I'll be the first one to say, hey, look, I don't watch Impact on the regular like that, but this kind of set it up to where we had one of our two big matches on this card, and now we're just kind of fiddling our thumbs until we get to the main event. And that's not necessarily true, but I feel like you could have had that anticipation of the night, and you could have opened up with something different. I know in previous cards, Impact will open up with the X Division guys, right? They'll have 5 X Division guys go do the X Division match, and maybe it's with the cables, maybe it's not, and they'll have them go fucking crazy, and they'll have them kill each other for it. And cool, right? That'll be a lively one. A bunch of spots, a bunch of guys jumping around, flipping their shit. But this was, this didn't need to open to me. This could have been 2 matches in, we get to this, 3 matches in, we get to this. You could have did the multi-man tag to open potentially. You could have did the multi-ladies match for the #1 contender. You could have did Joe Hendry Moose, although I think with the angle at the end of that match, maybe you don't open. You could have done Gresham and Eddie Edwards. Why the fuck didn't we do that to open? Gresham's a great hand. He's an octopus. I didn't really appreciate that match much at all. I guess Eddie Edwards is the heel and he'll go over. Spoilers are on the title, so if you were waiting to watch that match, one, probably don't, and two, spoilers on the title card, so I don't care. But yeah, it's just this is an actual critique or complaint. Like, why this opened the show doesn't make sense to me. You had other stuff on the card that could have really got the crowd or people at home oohing and ahhing. This so early just felt weird, and it kind of took the anticipation out of the card, for sure. At least for me. Again, at the very least, it did for me. We're gonna bit bop around the match card here as well. I know the main event. I don't really remember much of the match card. It's been a few days, and again, like, I'll be honest, I think some of the rest of the action here wasn't anything great to really remember. This opener was dope. This was great. Bully Ray does some good shit. Alexander plays his part really well. This was great. I enjoyed it. We got some color. There's that hardcore in pro wrestling that is creeped its way back in the last decade, with whether it's been Impact, now AEW gets a good bit of blood that WWE had shied away from. Not because we need necessarily deathmatch wrestling, and I enjoy it, but I know everybody else doesn't. But that, there's a bit of blood and hardcore that pro wrestling kind of has around itself, and that's not just the Attitude Era. I mean, you can look at Puerto Rico, you can look at what the 70s did. I mean, fucking Abdullah the Butcher was around before Triple H and The Rock in Austin, right? So that hardcore stuff is really dope to have around here, and you like it when they come out, and Impact does this shit pretty consistently. And Bully Ray, ECW, enough said, but this was dope. Like, this match was great. To open the show felt a little odd, but I mean, fuck, this was dope. This was a great opener. Got me off my seat. We'll bit bop around the card just a little bit here. Moving elsewhere, we had the tag team match. Actually, you know what? We're not gonna bit bop around the card. I'm gonna be better than that. I'm gonna pull up the whole fucking match card, and I'll be right back with the whole match card, and we will run it in chronological order. Damn it, because I'm gonna be a better content creator. Yeah, we're gonna we'll recap here. I'm gonna cut. Yes, so after the Josh Alexander Bully Ray match, we had the tag team match. And again, this could have totally opened. This card feels a lot more contained than I really remember. It's probably because one of these matches I was looking at my phone, I think. I'm going to be very honest. But we had the big tag team match. Motor City Machine Guns versus Heath and Rhino. We had Bullet Club was Ace Austin and Chris Bay. And then, of course, major players Matt Cardona, Brian Myers. This was fine. This was a fine tag team match. Big four-way multi-tag team match. Any of these guys in a solo contained tag match would have been fun to watch. I enjoy all of these guys. Heath and Rhino, Cardona and Myers. They're all great hands. They're all very fun to watch. Of course, Motor City Machine Guns, one of the GOAT tag teams. Probably a future Hall of Fame or something along those lines. Those guys are great. I thought this was very, very enjoyable. This was fun. This was fine for what it was. The only thing I had is that it went a little long. This match was 10 plus minutes. This match did not need to be that long. Some other matches on the card. I think the Fatal 4-Way Women's match went, I think the run time is 9 minutes. That didn't feel 9 minutes, and it was fun. This was okay. This is nothing crazy. I really don't have comments for this. This was pretty standard multi-tag match. I don't even really have a match recap for this because it went by. It felt a little long, but it went a little slog. Cardona and Myers do such good shit so consistently. It's a wonder they're not back in the E. But I think maybe it's just, I don't know if that's a personal thing, but they're very, very enjoyable. And all of the antics they do. Cardona especially had a bit of a tear through the indies, doing a ton of different shit. Lots of fun to watch. And it's also good to see, I mean, Motor City Machine Guns and TNA, Impact, whatever to call it. I mean, that's like a peanut butter jelly combo of wrestling right there. I didn't pay too close an eye to this, but it was good action. Again, part of this, the problem is that to open the show, I would have definitely been lasered on this, but coming out of the Alexander Bully Ray match, it just wasn't that big a deal for me. It was fine. It was good action. Next match, we had Joe Hendry and Moose. This one went pretty long. This is for the Impact Digital Media Championship. I love Joe Hendry. I think Joe Hendry's dope. Another guy I think could totally be in the E doing shit in NXT. Moose, of course, is awesome as well. I saw him on top. A lot of world stuff for him. I think the last Moose match I watched was him versus Sami Callihan. Was it him and Sami Callihan in like a fucking, they kept him in the pit, right? Yeah, they had him in like a fucking, they locked him in a room for a day and then the room full of darkness, and they had like a Monsters Ball match or some shit. It was fucking hilarious. I love stupid shit like that, and that's the type of stupid shit that you can only get in Impact, and it works, but it works. Like they play it in a straight way that you it's stupid, but you take it seriously enough to where, you know, and it's done seriously enough to where I can kind of appreciate it, and it's fun. But Moose is a bit of a tough, a green hand. I don't want to say green. He's been around for so fucking long that feels awful to say. He's solid though. I mean, I enjoy a lot of what he does. Hendry and Moose work a fine match. They go back and forth with it. Moose wins by shenanigans, but then we get Santino Marella with probably the best promo I've heard in a few weeks. Marella comes out at the end, and he's got a badge, and he's the new, chief officer, badge man, whatever the fuck he was. But he comes out, and he's just so silly, and he's like, oh, we're going to have bands, and we're going to have confetti, and we're going to have all this shit come out. And then he starts, cancel this, cancel that. He starts whispering into the mic, and he's just doing a great job, and it's a great old time. That man was hilarious, and I really enjoyed Santino Marella coming out and cutting this little promo. He restarts the match after Moose wins via shenanigans. I believe it was I don't think it was a roll up, but it was something pretty, it was like a low blow or some shit, and Moose ends up winning. Joe Hendry goes down, but then Joe Hendry pops back up after the restart, and the victory goes to Joe Hendry, right? They restart. Very funny to have Santino Marella. This is one of those post-match things that I thought added a lot. I appreciated it. Not much of a match recap here again because Hendry and Moose somehow wrestle for 14 minutes. Dear God, that could not have been 14 minutes. Wow. I don't believe it. But this was fun. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. Hendry's enjoyable in ring. Moose and Hendry looked a little weird because Hendry's a little bit built a little. He kind of got his chest is fucking jacked, but he's got a bit of a tummy. It's kind of like pudding. He looks like pudding. But he's cute face, cheeky grin. And then Moose is just giant. It's so wild. He's built like a football player right there. I think they said something like the announcer. Did Tom Phillips say Algie Crumpler comes to Atlanta to watch Moose wrestle? That's fucking great. God, I imagine because Moose is he's built like a goddamn football player. I don't know if he played ball. I've never really looked into it, but the dude is the dude is fucking built, man. Um, I'm looking at his Wikipedia. He was drafted to the Atlanta Falcons in 2006. Played 11 games. He's mostly a special teamser. Nice. He played pretty long. He played through to 2011. 7 starts at left tackle. Good for Moose. I appreciate it. Yeah, this dude, he is just built, man. 6'5". He's long as shit too. He's lanky. He's athletic. He's built like an athlete. And when you put him in the ring with other guys, like yeah, pro wrestlers are big, but some of these guys are 5'11", 5'10", 6 foot, maybe 6 foot with shoes on, 6'2" in boots, 6 foot with no boots. 6'3" but looks 6 foot. Like it's really, you got some common folk, and then Moose looks like a goddamn athlete, and but he never looks too awkward out there, right? And I enjoyed this. This was a fine match. The Digital Media Championship sounds like the most stupid fucking belt. Sounds like the most memey belt, but I'm not gonna hate on it. I'm not gonna hate on it at all. Heading out after this, we had the ladies four-way number one contender match. This was Masha Slamovich, Deanna Perrazzo, Killer Kelly, Taylor Wilde. Everybody gets entrance honors. Everybody has a bit of an entrance flair here. Taylor Wilde just debuted this like witch gimmick, whatever the fuck she looks like the baristas I used to have sex with. It's crazy. She's a Starbucks barista. She does horoscopes and she thinks that everything of your personality is because you're an Aquarius or some shit. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's not bad. Like I'm not saying it's bad. It's very odd. She's witchy. She's like the witchy millennial lady. It's like a big trope right now. It's like a big archetype of person. I don't hate anything about it though. It's fine. Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly are the redheads in this match, and they're kind of everywhere in this. Slamovich looks like money, and she gets the win here as well, and that's a good thing. I mean, Perrazzo's great. Perrazzo's got size. She's the best in ring coming into here. She knows what she's doing. She definitely helps coordinate a lot of this. A lot of this was good stuff. They trade with some submission stuff late in the match with Perrazzo that looked really good. This Fatal 4-Way starts like a Fatal 4-Way, right? Two people go outside and then they're brawling, and now it's two singles matches, and then they do like a spot outside as a dive, and then they do another dive outside to a bunch of people, and it gets a little silly, but then it really gets back into focus. Slamovich looks great in her own, but I don't think this match made her look as big money as she really is. Still the right decision to have her win. That's how I felt about when they had Jordan Grace win the big ladder match or elimination cage, whatever the fucking gimmick was. Mickey James was an enforcer. I think this is at Slammiversary. I don't fucking remember. Whatever fucking gimmick, elimination, battle royale, ladder, shark cage, JJ Dillon above the ring match. I don't know what the fuck it was, but they had Jordan Grace win it, and it was for the title, and it was the right call. I felt they didn't book Tasha Steelz strong for some of the stuff I saw, and I also felt like Tasha Steelz is a good personality, but maybe not maybe doesn't need to be world champion. Good underneath hand. This went to the right person again, though. Slamovich's money. She's bigger. She's mean looking. She's got the hair. She's got the look. She is, she's got the fucking gimmick. Masha Slamovich. Who doesn't want to see Masha Slamovich? Big, foreign, and it just has it. She doesn't really ever feel as big as you might think. I mean, ladies in wrestling right now, you got like Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair on big TV. They're big wrestlers, man. Masha Slamovich is definitely the biggest woman in Stardom, or a Joshi Federation, where many of the ladies are 5'2", but she's gonna be one of the more imposing ladies in most feds, but she doesn't feel as big, and I think that's because we've had some more taller, bigger ladies coming around. I mean, yeah, her build height's only 5'3". I mean. Yeah, her build height's only 5'3", so like, but she kind of she's tall, right? She's long. She kind of feels bigger. She's Slamovich, right? So yeah, I mean she's still not even one of the big ones. I think Peraza's a solid 5'5", right? Has to be. Of course, Peraza's gotten some more size on her. No, build height 5'3". What a world. I'm just wrong today. That's fine. I'm not. I'm not pressed about it. I'm a little salty about it. Not pressed about it. But whatever. Slamovich looks great here. Peraza does her job here. The two odd ones out are Killer Kelly and Taylor Wilde, but I don't think they ever stink around or mess up anything. And I don't mean that in such a shitty way, like they're such bad or anything like that. But sometimes the E does this so much where they'll have like the least talented hand in the match get so much time and do a bunch of weird shit. Uh, I think that's the comparisons I keep making to the E because I saw a fatal four way match and it was horrible, right? This was at NXT Stand and Deliver. It was like Cora Jade and Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray and Mandy Rose, and they had Mandy Rose, I think, call it, or they had to have, and she looked dreadful. Mandy Rose knew two moves. It was horrible. It was a horrible, horrible fatal four way match. I just saw the best fatal four way match in my life at Wrestle Kingdom between the juniors. This was fine. This was enjoyable. I don't think anybody did anything too awful. I don't want to talk this to death here either, but right person won, quote unquote. I don't really ever believe in that necessarily, but good honors to Masha Slamovich, and hopefully Peraza can start. She's been feeding a little bit. She had a big reign as champ, and she was doing a lot of big stuff and was holding the Ring of Honor title and everything. Hopefully, they can get her back towards the top end of the card because she is a whole heap of talent there. So it does suck a little bit to have to eat the loss in the multi women's match. After this, I don't know where this was in the card, but I know it happened. We had Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian re-debuted, and he said, he didn't want to take the safe route, something along those lines. He cut a passionate promo. I'm back. I'm an Impact. What up? I'm Frankie Kazarian. I love him. I love Kazarian. He's dope. Great talent. Good to see him here in Impact, where he'll be featured pretty consistently and not in AEW, which is so bloated with a million fucking faces, and then you have the Ring of Honor, and they have a million fucking belts, and God knows what else, and I only care about a third of the card, and the rest of the card's nonsense. And it's good to see Kazarian back, where he might have some tighter focus, and he can do some cool shit. I don't really know what they do with them. I mean, you do anything with anybody, right? So it's not like they have to. There's an idea in my head of what you have to do with him. But it's good to see him back. I think this is a better place. This is a dude that could be killing it everywhere. I mean, he's awesome. If you've watched TNA at all in any respects through its runtime since 2002, I mean, Kazarian is a dope little dude, man. I mean, he's been around. He's a good hand. Good to have him back. Next up, we had Steve Maclin, Rich Swann. This was a match I thought I would not watch. This was a match I was like, I'm going to be on my phone. I'm not going to watch. And they said it was Falls Count Anywhere. And I was like, oh, it's cool. And then on the screen was Raven. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, wait, why is Raven here? I was like, oh, he was here earlier. They did a backstage segment where he like hugged Mickey James, said, I don't think this is your last one, but I just wanted to be here. Yada, yada, yada. Raven's fucking great. He's cutting it up. He's cracking some jokes. Phillips and English are laughing. They're popping. They seem a little happy. They're like the kids with the favorite teacher in the class, right? They're like that's what they are. They're like the cool older high school teacher like came into class and is cutting it up. This was funny. This was cool. Again, I like Phillips and English a lot. I do not remember his fucking real name. We're gonna learn it. We're gonna be a better person. We're gonna learn his real name. We're gonna go. What is he? What are you getting called? Oh fuck! He's got one of those names I can't pronounce, and that's a lot of them because I can't read. What the fuck? How you say? Maybe we know him. I can call him by his first name. Maybe we know him. We're best friends. I can just call him Matthew. Oh boy. All right, Rewolt. Rewolt? Yo, I hate his name. That's okay. So yeah, Phillips and Rewolt do a great job here. They're cutting it up with Raven. Swann and Maclin get to the street and they're fighting outside, and Raven goes, "I hope one of them gets hit by a car," and it's just fucking hilarious. Raven's just riffing the whole time. It's very enjoyable. These two are brawling everywhere. They're going everywhere. I don't even remember the fucking finish to this match, but I do remember Maclin winning. Maclin defeats Rich Swann. Swann's been in and around. He's been putting on some bangers for Impact. He had that world title match with Kenny Omega, maybe 2 years ago from now? Was that 2020? I think that might have been 2020. So yeah, I don't know. No, it wasn't 2020. I think it was 2021. But yeah, that makes more sense because that's when Paige is crowned champ in October. Yep. So Swann's done a good bit. Swann has worked himself around. He's definitely made a bigger niche for himself outside of those dreaded 205 live days. But this was fine. This was fine for what it was. I didn't think I'd watch this match, but I definitely didn't watch it too intently. But I was enjoying the commentary. Higher up on the card again. So I know they had prelim matches. They had a 6-way match. They had a singles match for the Impact X division on the prelims. But this still could have been. I mean, the pay-per-view card. These are prelims on your pre-show shit. The pay-per-view, the event here. This could have not. This didn't need to be 7th on the card. This didn't need to be 7 matches down. This could have been, I don't know, somewhere. I guess it has to be away from the Josh Alexander Bully Ray match because they just did everything in a hardcore setting. But I don't know, man. Next up, we had Eddie Edwards, Jonathan Gresham. This is your co-main event of the evening. This went on for fucking ever. This match did not end. I don't know why. Eddie Edwards can't breathe and tie his shoes at the same time, man. Someone said he looked like Jeff Hardy's stoner friend, but fat, and I think they were talking about Shannon Moore. Edwards sucks, man. I don't get it. I don't enjoy it. It's crazy to see what they were with the Wolves and where Davey is gone and now where Edwards is. I don't get it. I don't think Eddie Edwards is terrible. I don't think he should kill himself. I'm not even mad that he wins or anything. It's whatever. But this went 19 minutes. This didn't need to go that long. What the fuck, man? This was forever. And they grapple. And Gresham's the better wrestler. And what's Eddie Edwards gonna do? And then, man, this really passed me, man. I really couldn't get through to this. This was a long match, and this was where I was looking at my phone. This is the match I talked about. I didn't really watch. This did it for you, and I'm not gonna have more commentary on it. Cool. I don't hate Eddie Edwards, but I just don't get why they did this for 20 minutes. I think Gresham is fine. I'm not a big fan of Gresham. I think he's fine. I think this was fine. This is a match that went really fucking long, and I'm glad that I wasn't enthralled, because I bet if you were enthralled, maybe you were a little tired going into the next near 20-minute match of Mickie James and Jordynne Grace. This Eddie Edwards Jonathan Gresham match was fine, I guess. I'm gonna be honest. I looked at my phone. I don't really get an opinion on it, but this was really long, and I don't think they needed to go this long. And I got way winded out of this. I'm really not. I don't hate Eddie Edwards by any means, but this just seemed out of place. They've got other guys. They got Kushida on the roster, man. Even that Mike Bailey dude, which I don't really care for him, feels like he could have been out here. This is so fucking weird to be doing something along these lines. And I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. But again, even if they just put the Alexander Bully Ray match in the co-main event here, and you move the Maclin Rich Swann match, down the card, you could have did that. And then you could have did a post-match angle or a backstage thing. And they had the big long promo for Mickie James because it was like her retirement match, quote unquote. So fucking weird, but we'll move on. I don't want to harp on shit I hate, because I also didn't watch half of this match because it was tiring. Finishing out the card, big match of the night. This is one of the two big matches we had our main event. This is Mickie James, Jordynne Grace. Title versus career. Grace has been holding on to the belt for a minute. Mickie James opened up the year with the belt last year. She beat Deonna Purrazzo in that Texas Death match. Big gimmick match. Lots of fun. Mickey's a great hand. This was a great match. Better than I was ready for. Better than I think anyone was ready for. This was dope. Mickey James and Grace put on. I don't give star ratings, but if I was given star ratings, this is like a fucking 5-star match. James and Grace wrestle this one real well. James is trying to get an inch in, but can't because Jordan Grace is just bigger, so James is thrown off. I think they trade backside switches. Grace just fucking throws her. Mickey James is getting put into the dirt the whole time. Grace is on top, but Mickey James doesn't go away. They do a lot of the trading of strikes, which is fine. I think they do it well. Grace definitely feels like she's getting led here by Mickey, who's calling a good match. They really ramp up. They do a lot of cool stuff. Mickey James ends up hitting the DDT pretty late in this one, but it's a kick out, and we've got more to go, more to chew on. Felt like a real near fall. Grace almost puts out Mickey, but again, Mickey kicks out, and we've got just a little bit more to go. So we're at the near fall. No shenanigans needed for this finish. James ends up crowning Grace and then gets into the rope assisted DDT for the 3 count. James earlier in the match hit this beautiful spinning kick that she always throws, and it just really clocked Jordan Grace. Grace again plays like the strong woman here. She's big and beefy. On the outside, we had some action, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. Grace plays this great. She doesn't go full heel, but she's got the little slogan on the back of her shirt when she enters out that she points to. This is really, really good. I mean, Grace doesn't play this anything other. She had a great quote. She's like, I don't want to end the career, but I'm not going to stop Mickey from taking this title away from me. She plays it real straight in that she's leaning into being the bad girl here because, of course, it's Mickey James's career on the line. She could retire Mickey James, but she's not overly heel. Grace has some great reactions when she can't put Mickey James away and that she's frustrated. This felt great. They really told a very simple story, and Grace doesn't ever seem too novice or too green or too dumb here. One of my favorite matches is Sting versus Ric Flair in the first Clash. The main event, and you see Sting do several quote unquote mistakes, going out of the ring late in the match, throwing himself into harm's way for no reason, and Flair takes advantage. It's like a wily veteran versus a green talent. Grace never looks as raw here. She looks skilled, she looks ready, she looks able, and she just can't put away a veteran Mickey James. This is done great. They don't need to go hold for hold here, but they do a lot of spots. They do a lot of spot really well. Not going to be one of the more memorable matches for moment to moment, but just a very thorough, very good watch. And you just feel good when James wins, right? I mean, nobody wants to see her retire just yet, especially not having matches like this. What the fuck? That's not to take away from Grace at all, obviously, but incredible talent here. This has, I think saying this was better than anyone expected is probably fair. I think Impact has put on the women last. They've done this before, and they take a commitment to it. And I think with Grace, they have one of the Grace, Purrazzo, Slamovich around. I mean, James with the top of it. Chelsea Green gets time, pretty good underneath hand, good underneath heel. I don't know if they still have the Iconics sniffing around for Impact dates, but there's so much talent around here, and it's not like the days where there's so much more women's wrestling around too, so that's really dope. Like, it's not as scarce, and there's just a lot of good shit here. Great main event to close out. For me, it kind of washed that bad co-main out of my mouth. Again, if you enjoyed any of Jonathan Gresham, please enjoy what you like. I could not fucking sit there for 19 minutes. And James and Grace felt long, but again, like how Bully Ray and Josh Alexander went long and felt long, nothing felt overstayed the welcome. It felt good. It felt really nice. They can circle back to Grace and James again. Slamovich is now the number 1 contender. I think with James winning, this kind of feels like she's going to eat a pin. which I'm kind of interested to see how Slamovich can wrestle in the big time with the title on the line against Mickey James with some time to work. That'll be interesting. But yeah, Hard to Kill was fine. Hard to Kill was chill. I think similar to the last year's event, I only remember the Texas Death Match vaguely, which I enjoyed, and the Ring of Honor invasion. I think from this, I'm gonna remember Raven on commentary and Santino Marella and the Mickey James match. I think that's what I'll remember. Maybe the Alexander Bully Ray stuff too. They had some really cool stuff, really cool spots. Really, the ladder and the tax is what really caught my eye because I was like, oh, that was done so cool. Like I totally forgot about the tax, and then they threw him back in the ring. But this is fine. We are moving along here. There's a lot of wrestling going on. The second Wrestle Kingdom date is this weekend, so that's gonna be Keno and Naito in the main event. Fucking excited for that. That's gonna be incredible. I can't wait to watch that. And then Royal Rumble, we're 2 weeks out, I think, or I guess about a week and a half now from this upload date. So we're nearing some bigger wrestling, a lot of shit going on this early in the year, and then Revolution will be around the corner. So we'll definitely tune in for that. We might catch a few Dynamites here in February just to kind of get reacquainted with what's going on. But yeah, Hard to Kill is dope. I'll try to catch a little bit more Impact this year. I felt like I already caught more Impact last year than I did the previous year, so we'll try to keep the trend up. And again, like with the E, nothing here was too hateful. Like as much as I'm gonna harp that Eddie Edwards and Gresham never should have been this long, nothing here was too hateful. And then what I mean by that was nothing was too absolutely ridiculous or stupid or silly. A lot of this stick to tropes and did them well. James and Grace told, again, a very simple story going in, had a very, very compelling match. Enjoyed a lot of this. But yeah, I hope to see out of this where they go with Alexander, because they gave him a big fish in Bully Ray. What I don't think it's wrong to say he's the biggest, maybe second biggest name out there in Impact. I don't think that's wrong at all. I think it's him and Mickey, like neck and neck, and maybe Mickey because she's got the title, I guess, for some reason. If that does anything for you, but yeah, I think that Bully Ray is a good fish for Alexander to feed on. I want to see where they go with Alexander and who they're really prepping to take that belt off him. Because I guess Eddie Edwards is around, but I don't know, man. I mean, it seems like Mike Bailey is a big name talked about by a lot of people. He's pretty contained to the X division. I don't really know. Hendry's a great hand. That guy could be doing anything, anywhere. That dude is great. Maybe they circle back to Moose. It could be on anybody's hand. It could be around anybody's waist. But I think that world title scene to me is interesting because they could really push it. I mean, they could just keep it around Alexander for a while. I don't think there's, I really pull back on saying wrong or bad because I don't think you see a lot of that outside of like genuinely what the E does, or sometimes AEW, sometimes Noah, but I don't really see a lot of like, oh, this is objectively stupid or bad or doesn't work or anything crazy like that too often outside of really the E. I thought this was an enjoyable card. Impact puts on some enjoyable stuff. I don't really catch a lot of TV. Maybe I should. But yeah, if they do stay with Alexander, because Alexander's profile is rising every time he has a big match like this, and every month, and every time he's on, Strong or somewhere else, and he's working, he gets more and more of a shout and some more kudos and flowers. They really could establish him just as their dominant reigning world champion and have him go the gambit. Because again, like I said, I don't think they have anyone that can take it from him. I really don't. I think the money there is with Alexander, and you fucking ride the white meat babyface you were gifted. Everybody loves that guy. Ride him until he leaves, because that dude is, everybody likes him. I'm not really a big personal fan of Alexander, but that doesn't matter, right? Like I'm not a personal fan of Moxley. That guy's fucking huge money, right? So, Alexander seems like the move. They need to ride that guy to the moon. I think that's exactly what this Impact roster should do. Because I don't know who the fuck else could they. I mean, anyone can go. They can put anyone in the match for it. But who else is gonna do you what Alexander's doing? And everybody loves a young talent like Alexander's big next big thing. A lot of internet buzz about him. He's got the look. He looks fucking great. He looks legitimate. He's got all those check marks. You know, off on the sheet. I would love to see what they do with him for sure. I think that'd be a way as well to earn a lot of good faith. I don't think Impact is. I think there was a few years, especially with a lot of the rebranding, a lot of people were a bit soured on Impact, but I think Alexander would win a lot of faith, at least with those smart mark kind of crowd, if he's running around with the belt too. So I think it only helps. But interesting to see what they're doing with him and where they're going with that. I think Alexander's been a great champ for them. I think they've really hit the nail on the head with the world champs they've had of recent. And for the women's division, I mean, they've got a star in Grace. I think they built Grace incredible. I think this match did her well. Her jobbing here is fine. I mean, they're gonna need to keep Mickie James around. You can do this match again whenever, and you don't have to do any sort of stipulation for it. And this is great. I mean, you can go run back Mickie James and Jordan Grace at Slammiversary or a later date. Uh, Fuck yeah, they got a stud in Grace, man. That lady is dope. She had like the Luna Vachon kind of fucking hair with the braids and the part. Oh, fucking looks sick, and she's built. That mother, she's fucking jacked. That goddamn. I said what I said. Joe Hendry and the stomach looks like pudding. Fucking Jordan Grace looks like she's carved out of goddamn marble. Motherfucker is terrifying. That lady is terrifying in the best way. So I think there's a lot of cool shit with Impact in those world title scenes. The rest of the card, I mean, it's fine. I'm out. I don't watch. I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to remark on the rest of the card, right? I kind of feel like, when I do tune in, it's kind of whatever. But this is a good event. If you have nothing to do, you're hungry for a little bit of wrestling. Mickie James Grace is definitely worth your time alone to watch this card. And Josh Alexander Bully Ray is good. You also get Raven on commentary. This is worth your time. If you've got the time, check out Hard to Kill. At the very least, check out Mickie James versus Jordan Grace in the main event, at the very least, because it's very much worth your time, especially if you're not acquainted with Jordan Grace. Thick Mama Pump? You're not acquainted with Thick Mama Pump? Come on now. You gotta go see her. If you've never seen Jordan Grace wrestle before, you gotta go see that. Mickie James is a name you're familiar with if you've seen any professional wrestling in the last 20 years. So, very, very good shit here. And, yeah, that'll be all. The next review is going to be coming later this week. We'll be watching the second Wrestle Kingdom event with Noah, and then we'll be reviewing Royal Rumble. We will probably watch New Beginnings. Kind of depends on how busy I get. Gonna be very honest. I'm hoping I'm not, but we'll see. I might be very busy. So we'll check in with New Beginnings, but definitely we'll cover this weekend's Wrestle Kingdom event, and we'll definitely cover Royal Rumble. So be excited. Tons of fucking wrestling around, man. It's such a nice time. But that is all for me. I'm scuffed. It's been a scuffed time. I hope everybody is well. And yeah, check out Mickie James Jordan Grace. If you've got the time, do it.